Well, it's about time that Alicia has released her entry, which means that I'll be doing my ranking on all 8 songs in this year's Wielki finał polskich kwalifikacji. So, yeah, as you may notice, this is the Polish national selection, and all 8 of them are basically okay for the most part. But there were a couple of instances that it was alright. So this will be a wild one, of course. I mean, spoiler alert: a song that has the title "Wild" is one of my favorites for this selection. So sit back because this is going to be an interesting one. So let's get started. With of course number 8. That is Piotr Brykowski with the song "Parawani Tango." It is so stupid. Like for the most part, the tone itself kind of makes it a little beach vibe, but it is so boring for some reason. The lyrics are meh, and his vocals is also alright though. So I give it a C plus. Number 7, Karolina, and butcher my Polish for this. Skrzydłowska with Nieboyzy. The song is alright though. I kind of like the vocal part of this, but the chorus is decent, so A minus for her. Number 6, Ola Antoniak with Don't You Try, and somehow this got popular right after it was released for some reason. It has about 100,000 views for something like this. I don't know why, but that was unexpected. And her entry, though, that was decent. For the most part, I kind of like her vocals, which is a great perk. But the overall tone is great, but the repetitive part of the song, that is I think the chorus. So at least it needs a little improvement, though. So this also gets an A minus. Number 5, Stasiek Kukulski with This Too Shall Pass. It is impressive. Like, his vocals are extremely way beyond than I initially expected, but still it was alright. But that wasn't my favorite though, because it's okay. So A tier for him. Now on to my favorites. That makes it the half of my ranking. So number 4, Basia Grimont with the song Simna Woda. Hello, part of the search, of course. The beats is impressive. The overall tone is so wild, and everything else very great. And kind of have the Motanka vibes already, but that was impressive. So I give it already an A tier for her. So yeah. Up next on our list is Jeremy Sikorski with the song Sini Brzezlowski. And he did very great. Yeah, sort of. Of course, the vocals is impressive. The tone is so intense, and the lyrics spoke for itself, which is okay though. So A tier. And apologies for that construction. Sounds like something is going on outside. So just move on. And this one is also another worship song. Like many in some of my rankings, of course. We have a couple of songs about prayers. Like mostly, in fact, we have a couple of songs that basically base over that. Of course, we have Catharticus, which is the fan favorite as of right now for the Vidbeer and other stuff. I cannot remember, but yeah. Oh, and by the way, Leonardo Amor from Melody Grand Prix. But this one is kind of a bit similar to either of these two, but this thing takes on an operatic session here. This is Alicia, who was supposed to represent Eurovision back in 2020, but you know what happened. And she came back this time with her song Pray. And the vocals is indeed a powerhouse. The lyrics spoke for itself, and I really loved the overall tone of the song, which is very impressive. So A tier. But that wasn't my personal favorite. And I think my ideal winner for this selection, that honor goes to Anastasia with the song Wild Child. And it was indeed a bop. For the most part, of course, the vocals is indeed great. The tone is so amazing, and the overall message that it brought is so wicked, like totally wicked. And that makes it the most interesting song that we got here. So at least I don't think if this is a fan favorite. Some of them say it's Basia or either Alicia, but I think that's either of them. So for Anastasia, this gives an A plus. So far the selection is, needless to say, it was great. Even though that we have a couple of decent ones like Piotr, Karolina, and Ola. Well, at least this selection has a couple of variety. We have the remaining 5 entries that I already mentioned earlier. Of course, Stasiek, Basia, Jeremy, Alicia, Anastasia. And some of the songs were okay, some of them were great, and I think the selection has a really interesting vibe. We have a sort of a very boring beach song that kind of makes it a little similar to that of Dolce Hera or Stefan from Montesong, and a song that very similar to Prayer by Leonardo Amor from El Grand Prix. But yeah, but this I might say is way decent than last year. I think last year was so big that we even got Justina Skrzydłowska with the song Gaia, in which that eventually went to Eurovision and made it to the final. So yeah, needless to say, Wielki finał polskich kwalifikacji 2026 is okay. So please knows that. So what's next? Of course, no, or of course, yeah. More Melody Festival and Eurovision.LT rankings will be coming away very soon. And also coming soon, I think my rankings on the San Marino Song Contest, Selecția Națională from Romania, and San Remo, and possibly other national selections if they are confirming it. Armenia doesn't even confirm what to do with their selection. I don't know yet. But yeah, and of course we have a couple of things to expect. Of course, so okay, today, February 7th is the day that Ukraine will select its entry to Vitbeer. And yes, Vitbeer. And not only that, but of course tomorrow I'm gonna share my own thoughts on what Ukraine has selected. Not only that, but Cyprus' song that is Antigonis Jala, in which we already teased a couple of times, and we already know that she was internally selected by RIK back in, I think, October or November. I cannot remember, but yeah, I think fall of last year. So at least there's that. So that's basically what you can expect for the next couple of videos here on ESC-DN. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And you can also comment as well if you have any comments on what I've selected or ranked. So with that out of the way, I'm Duncan Nichols. I thank you all very much for watching, and we'll always be united by music.